here's a cliche, a popular cliche. People say, I can't see the wood for the trees. It's perfectly valid. What it means, I can't see the wood for the trees, is that I can't get a handle on the whole problem because I can only see all the little bits of it. But what interests me about that, and I hope you'll get it more in the light of what I'm about to talk about, is that actually in some ways that's kind of the wrong way round. Very often the problem is this, that we don't see the trees for the wood. In other words, we see a problem and it seems so enormous or so unfathomable or so complex or so broad that we just don't know where to start. Now that might be a scientific problem or an organizational problem or a commercial problem. It might be an artistic problem. Of course, you know, the fear of the blank page for the writer or the fear of the blank canvas for the artist. Where on earth do I start? How do I deal with these things? And morphology, I realized, might be a way of helping us to see the trees for the wood and then, in other words, to disassemble a problem. But the point is that when we've disassembled it, we understand it better, we perhaps reorganize it, we reassemble it into something whole. Let's assume that instead of a diverse group of interested people from business and education and so on, that we are the rather ground down workforce of a small bicycle company. And I'm the managing director, and it's been in my family for 100 years, and we used to do very well. But we've hit hard times, and the reason we've hit hard times is because we still make the same kind of bicycle that we've made for the last 100 years. Everyone else on the planet is making more interesting bicycles than us, and they're undercutting us and outmaneuvering us in the marketplace. So I come to you at our emergency general meeting of the whole company and say, if you still want to be in employment by Christmas, we've got to come up with a better bicycle. So please, make me a better bicycle. Now the problem with a question or a challenge like, make me a better bicycle, is that it's too big. It's too vague, it's too nebulous. Where on earth do you start? The emotion, for most people, when faced with a challenge like that, is panic, or something very close to panic. There's lots more. Spokes, okay. Right, we've only got 3 more to go, so let's get them thick and... Saddle, good.
Security. People
Excellent.
keep unscrewing things from mine.
Okay.
Brakes. Safety.
Brakes, okay, well, you were just a fraction of a second too late with safety there, so dangerous wins the day on that one. Okay, now this is only a game just to get you thinking this way. What we've done, in effect, is we've taken the bicycle, the concept of the bicycle, if you like, we've kind of shaken it very hard, and all the pieces of the bicycle, including its non-mechanical attributes, like legs, which are our attributes rather than the bicycle's, have fallen on the floor. And what we can do now, we can, in effect, see the trees for the wood. The beginner's guide to morphology, okay. This is a little bit like the box I've just shown you, slightly more sophisticated. Let's imagine that we want to give up our day jobs, either together as a group of friends or as little individuals or groups, and we want to open a coffee shop or a tea shop. That's our, you know, we're just fed up with the stress of the rat race. Okay, by business model, I mean, for example, this is my phrase, it's not an official sort of business phrase, but what I mean is a grab and go. In London, pret-a-manger's are grab and goes. They want you to go in, buy a sandwich, get the hell out. They make a token gesture towards you sitting there by having those very high tables and stools that are quite difficult to get on and off. In Norwich, that model didn't work for them. So if you're a fan of Pret, you'll have noticed that in the last few months they've changed their business. Well, they've changed the model in Norwich. All the high stools and tables have gone, and it's now big sofas, because they've realised that people in Norwich aren't quite in such a hurry as people in London. So now that's to our credit, I think. But then you might have the sort of shabby sofa look, and the great sort of proponents of that are Starbucks. Starbucks sofas are ever so slightly grubby, and there's the crumb. You kind of wish they'd get one of those tools on and hoover down the cracks between the sofa seat. But that's deliberate. The reason they don't clear up the tables as often as you would like, probably when you first look at it, is because they want you to feel it's a bit scruffy. It's a deliberate. It's not that they're lazy. It's because that's the whole ethos of the place. It's meant to feel, with due respect to some art students who are here, it's meant to feel a bit like an art student's flat. It's not meant to be too shiny. Have I offended somebody? It's a horrible silence coming from over. You're coming at me from over there. Now, an Italian coffee shop, where could we put it? Is it more likely to be successful on the back of a bike, or in a library, or an office block, or a school, or a town centre, or a seaside or high street? You choose. Okay, somewhere on the high street. Now that's quite interesting because the high street's a highly competitive place, so you've got to have some real standout on the high street. But, okay, it's a good place to start. So, to make money, to be successful and to fulfill our dreams, what kind of business model fits with being an Italian coffee shop on the high street? Do we want people to come in, chuck their coffee down their necks and get out, which actually is what a lot of happens in Italy, of course, because people drink espresso. Do we want them to do that, or are the English ready for that? Or do we, what else do you think? Cafe bar, okay, because then there's markup on alcohol as well. That's exactly where this kind of thing can take you. You can start off with analysing the stuff you've got, and it starts to grow, and the whole thing becomes an iterative process. You can sort of go around, it gets bigger and richer, but at the same time as getting bigger and richer, you narrow it down and you throw out the stuff that's the dross and the stuff you don't need right now. You might need it on another time. Now, I've done this sort of activity with a whole range of people, from charities who are looking at ways of fundraising through to small business people who are wanting to start a new business.